This is a fragrance commercial I shot, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can create something similar for your next project. First of all, I hate doing product videos. So this video is perfect for people that have to shoot something like that but are not good at it. So we start with the hero shot. The hero shot is the most important part of a fragrance commercial. So what are the problems that we had and what are the things I did that make that this footage looked good at the end of the day. So when you have a product, there are several problems. First problem is the texture of the product. So is this a matte finish? Is this a glowy finish? So this bottle has a matte finish, but also a glowing top. So we have two different reflections we have to think about and light for. Because when we try to do something soft, this one looks not good. When we do something hard, this one doesn't look good. So we have to use different techniques for the bottle itself. In my opinion, looks better on products. Sure, you have problems with reflections, but you can do so much more with glow and the texture, like the light moves. This is very dead texture to do something special like a fragrance commercial. This is really basic framing. We have a third where our product sits in, and left and right where our location sits in. We work here dev center. And I think for products, it's very good to work dead center, and also in this kind of years where social media is important. This is a widescreen project, but at the end of the day, there will be a 9:16 version. And when you shoot like this, you have a safe area where you can put your product in, and it will also look good on TikTok or Instagram. So what do we put in the frame? This little pool we created, and then we put stones like a podest. This is the fragrance is called Private Garden. So we tried to put a theme in here, and this is a different element which creates that private part. So we have this water, we have the forest around it, but it's rock solid on the center. So we play a little bit with textures and materials to sell a little bit of a story in there. Next one, what is important is a little bit of depth. As you can see, we have a little bit of grass in the foreground, but also this log, what comes from in front of the camera and goes into the background. There was also a lock in the push-in, so we have very little controlled camera movement. And with a product that is this small, your camera movement has to be enhanced a little bit. So you put objects closer to the lens so that your push-in has a little bit more motion. But it's very subtle, very slow movement because luxury and set product. So we want to sell the camera motion with the emotions of the fragrance and the scent of the fragrance. Lighting. First things first, I like to light the background first. So we ignore the fragrance. So first we did is put an aperture spotlight and created a very warm shaft of light in the background. Then we have a lantern aperture for just ambience. So this light creates the ambience in the scene. And this light creates this texture. So this light was on 5.5 and this background light was on 3200, maybe was a little bit lower. And this creates a little bit of color contrast and also the feeling of, okay, we're in a private space, but somehow a little bit of light comes through the bushes and creates this really nice texture. So after you've done the background, the next thing is I work from the back. This fragrance needs a backlight. So we put an aperture with spot mount again, closed it it was very close, and tried to only hit the back of the fragrance and nothing else. You can see here you get a little bit of the stone, but that's because of the angle. The background was really high, so the only possibility for the light was to shoot something like that, and that's the reason why we hit the stone a little bit. If I could, I wouldn't. But it's physical, not possible. So after the backlight, next thing is we put a little aperture MC right on the corner of the frame, and it's on 40% or something like that, just to fill this part of the fragrance. Then we had another aperture spot from the side. We only try to hit the top of the fragrance. We put a mist filter in the camera, and that's the reason why we have this nice glow around the fragrance, and this part has a really nice soft gradient across it. It's 2025, so we have to reconsider how we light and work. Because I do a lot of color work myself, I know it doesn't have to be that complicated sometimes. If I get everything in the right meters, I can make this brighter, make this darker, change the colors of some of the lights. At here, as you can see, it's a bit pixelated. I don't know how you see it on YouTube. These light shafts were also done in DaVinci, so that a lot of tools I know while shooting I can use. So it's not a fix it in post, it's an enhance it in post with the techniques I know. This straight off camera, you see everything. You see this, you see this. You have to know, okay, I can later put a lot of power masks around here of the stone, on the leaves, on the background. I really brighten the background up, because we only had an aperture spot mount and not the max, and it really reduces the output of the light of the 600X, so it really boosted in post. But after all that, we also added a little bit of haze in the background. But like I said before many times, sometimes I only haze the background. Don't haze the foreground, because you will lose a lot of contrast, and I want the product to look contrasty and rich, and haze would really lift the shadows of the product, because it's a dark product, it's a really dark green, and I think it will destroy the look. So next scene is this top shot, and I think top shots are a lot easier to light. We have a bit of texture on the grass. What we did is just really, really simple. You put an aperture with spot mounts and put that cookies in there. Like this, these are just metal plates with weird textures around it. And when you shoot through it, you get a lot more interesting shadows. And when you do something like this with a lot of nature, always consider how would it look in real life. And in real life, we would have a lot of different shadows and shapes because of the leaves and the sun. So I try to replicate this look. And when you're doing top-down shot, everything looks more flat. Techniques that you can use is, this product doesn't just lay on the ground. There's something underneath it that pushes it up, so it's a little bit closer to the camera than the rest of the objects. This creates a little bit of depth to the ground. Then next thing is, the spotlight is actually coming from this direction, because we get here the specular highlights and the gradient. And what you also can do is move lights. Moving lights are a tool that you can use that really levels up your production. Next thing is, after you're done, this is the first light I would do, then I would do ambience. What you can do is just put a big Godox 400 or 600, a huge light source on top of it, and do it on really small percentage, 3, 4, 5. It depends on how hard this light is. And then you can control the contrast you want. I just wanted to fill up the shadows that are not deaf, because I really wanted to keep this nice texture that we have here. Then, like I said before, a lot of it is post. I really boosted this part. I done a big vignette, but what I also did is I blurred my vignette. When you look in the corners, you can see that we have radial blur, and this radial blur effect also helps us concentrate on the product, because we do in a product video, and the most important thing on a product video is to look at the product. If you like the cinematography breakdown, you should consider subscribing to this channel. My name is Marco Bagnoli and we'll see you next time.